go. There we go. Today we're going to be talking about overviews and hotkeys. I am Dr. Bar Mitzvah, and this is I Want Alpha. And I'm going to be showing you how to do your overview and hotkeys. I didn't really do much research for this. I'm kind of just winging it, and that's probably a good thing, because when you're doing it, you're going to be kind of winging it. And overview and hotkeys is something that everyone avoids like cancer and the plague, including myself, because it is in fact some mix of plague and cancer. It's very, very complicated in Eve, the overview. Let me go get my client up so it looks right. Because there are so many different things in this game you want to see, and the overview prioritizes those things. And it's really hard to prioritize certain things. When do I want to see this over when do I want to see that over? What are my options? Luckily, CCP recently just added more tabs, just something that I've complained to them in threads about for quite a while, and I was super happy that they took my advice and say, hey, why not just throw us a few more tabs? It would really help in some of those tricky situations. There's so many different types of PvE and types of ships and things like that we have to worry about nowadays, and it would be really, really helpful if I could isolate more things on more tabs that I want to look at. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to show you, as you know, when you first start out, I reset my overview. If you go to your overview settings, there is an option under miscellaneous, and you can reset all overview settings, and I just did that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to get my overview back unfucked. And a lot of people, you'll hear them say something like, you need to unfuck your overview. And there was an old, it used to be a lot simpler. Not a lot simpler, I guess it used to be simpler. There was like a process you follow exactly what this list says. As you can see, I'm a little under the weather. I've been sick today, and I stayed up drinking last night, and my body is punishing me now. So anyway, they used to call it Unfuck Your Overview. It is a series of steps you would follow to make your overview proper, so you could see who was enemy and who was friend and stuff like that. But that has fallen the way of the dinosaurs, since CCP also released these nice overview packs that you can just pick up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join a channel and just join help. And as a newbie, you probably start out in this channel. And the first thing I'm going to say is, where can I get an overview pack? Now I'm just going to ask in the newbie help, and I guarantee in the next 5 seconds someone's going to pop up a little thing and it's going to say Seshua's, or whatever you say it, Sarashawa's overview pack. And I'm going to drink some more delicious overpriced coffee. Okay, not 5 seconds. But I'm sure some nice helpful person is going to pop that up, and as a newbie you can just pretty much reliably do that. I need an overview pack. Please. And I guess no one's ready yet. It's the morning time, it's slow. Sure, there's not a whole lot of people being helpful on, but someone will guarantee come to my rescue. So anyway, what the overview pack is going to do is going to have a whole bunch of pre-made settings, tabs, priorities, all that good stuff. And it'll save you a lot of the... Look, oh, Sarah overview, eUni overview, and I'm sure either is pretty good. And what these are is, I'm going to say thank you to Mara Shin. Thank you, Mary Sin. You want to send donations to this kind person, stranger, for helping me out? I didn't think so. Thank you, Mary. And now I'm going to scroll back up a little bit, and we're going to go... I use the Sarashawa. You use what you like. And I joined this lovely channel, and it has all these things. Version 9.1. They update these regularly because there are new things like new ships and new NPCs added to the game regularly. And CCP does a great job updating their game several times a year and adding new stuff for us to shoot. And so these overview packs, make sure you get an up-to-date one. So I'm going to go ahead and just, what you do is you go right down the list, and I'm not exactly up on exactly why there's so many of them. The gist of it is that it's basically just certain things done in certain order, and it's like basically building layers of a cake. And if you do it in the wrong order, it will screw some things up. So you just go load overview, probably yes, right, and then you just go right in the list. Load overview, yes. Part 2, part 3, part 4. And this is just because certain things need to be done in a certain order when you're setting up your overview. And as you can see, boom. Now, I've gone through this. I have my Sarah Showers overview pack loaded. Now, what's great about this overview pack is it is customizable. It gives you a whole bunch of options. I can right-click on this tab up here. I'm going to make this really big so it's not hard to see. I'll put it right in the middle of the screen, move my overview, put the settings over there. And I'm just hanging out in JITA right now. I'm out in the middle of space, so, you know, from an unpopular station. So no one really. And there's you can see all these wonderful columns, all the different things. So what I'm going to do, I generally don't worry about transversal. I just look at the ship and see which way. And when the new little arrows that they have going from the ships when you use the grid are fucking fantastic. So I don't really use this anymore. I like to see velocity. That's helpful. But that's about it. Anyway, what was it doing? Okay, so when you right-click on here, you can go to load defaults, and these are like the preset ones that CCP makes. And then I can load presets. These are all the things that Sarah Shaw gave me. Lots and lots of little things. Now I'm sure lots of these have uses for things that I don't do. Big fleet fights, stuff of that nature, capital fights, sea super carriers, Titans, blah blah blah. But if should I get in a situation, we're going to fight Titans, blah blah, and I want to see those Titans, I can click on this and see the hostile super carriers or super Titans on a specific tab. But I don't really need that. I don't get involved in capital stuff. I'm a small game guy, you know, subcap PvP. So, anywho, so what we're going to do now is, this is a drone tab, which I'm going to leave just like that. That's a friendly all tab. I like that. That's a warp out tab. Just all stuff, a bunch of moons. I can get the hell out. Planets, moons, whatever. There really should be planets on here and asteroid belts and stuff like that, but I guess they went with all moons. Alright, I'm going to add a tab, and this tab is going to be the all tab. I love having an all tab because when everything else fails, I know what I am looking for is on this tab. And you just load a default and go to all. Hey! Now everything that is seeable is right here. Except there's no asteroid belts. There should be asteroid belts. Anyway, if you want to have to asteroid belt, you can just right click and go to planets, blah blah blah. Are there no asteroid belts? Shouldn't asteroid belts appear right here? Maybe they're all mined out. Anyway. Or maybe they got rid of them. I don't know. I'm trying to mine in JITA. Okay. Now the other thing I like to do, and I do this on every fucking tab because I don't know about you, but I like to see what's in space. I go to show all brackets on everything. I want to see everything in space, and brackets are, there's not really here. We do this. We jettison something. I don't have anything to jettison. Ugh. Where can I go? Where else? You know what? I'll go to JITA 4.4 and I'll see some shit. Oh, my overview's down here. If you ever minimize your overview, it's going to go over here, right? Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. And let me put my overview where it belongs. And brackets are just all the little wonderful things in space. JITA 4.4. RNAV assembly plant. That's the other one. And we'll just go at like 100 or 70, okay? And then you can see, so show all brackets, just all the little things, the cargo containers, the mobile depots, other ships, drones, whatever. I like to see all that stuff, so I can zoom out and see where that stuff is in relation to me. I can look at the enemy fleet and see if there's a cargo container or a wreck that I can warp my fleet to or warp myself to and get tackle, whatever. But it's just useful. I like to know what's in space around me, and so I always have all my brackets open. Now for lag, it probably creates some kind of lag because of all this shit being out in space, but and this place is just clusterfucked with stuff. So I always though load all brackets. Load preset the brackets. It should be all down here. Load all brackets, and you see, oh look, all that wonderful stuff. You see all these mobile depots popped up, all this crap, and it's nice to know when you're flying your fleet, am I flying past something they can warp to, or yourself, or whatever. Oh look, someone wants to vote for Trump. See, they wrote beautiful. And why would you want to deny people their beautiful artwork? Someone's trying to support Trump and draw this beautiful stuff, and I don't want to take away from that. So have your brackets on. Save a life. And like I said here, if you look, when I look in close, I have my this is my tactical overlay and all this stuff on. I love this stuff, the new tactical overlay with all this stuff, because I can look at ships from far away and instantly determine what direction he is heading and how fast, how long the arrow is, the faster he's going. And it's really, really cool. And all these giant arrows popping off. See, like this guy right here. And his Fipple, Mr. Christox. Look, he's traveling downward motion pretty fast, probably 2 or 3K. Let's see how good I am. Let's see, where is that Fipple in my overview? Christox, where be you? There's a lot of stuff here, so it's hard to single stuff out. Christox. Here, why don't I sort by type? Look for Fipple. Probably easier. There he is, Christox. And now he's not moving because he's a cunt. He wanted to ruin this for me. But you can see his velocity there. He was hauling ass for a second, but now he's just chilling down there. Whatever, you get the idea. So anyway, back to overview settings. Let me just get off the grid. I just want to show you what the brackets were. It's all these little brackets, that the stuff that you see on your screen and space around you. That is your brackets, and I always have all my brackets on. I want to be able to look out here and see the moons and the planets and all the good stuff in space. There's actually a button to show all the things. I can't remember. It's like Control Shift. I probably should have done some research for this, but whatever. What is this? Configure. I'm not used. I don't know what that is. We're just gonna go Planet 1 where it's nice and quiet. I don't have all this crap going on. Okay, back to the overview. Sorry. My nose is running. Terrible day to do this, but whatever. The show must go on. So now I got all these wonderful tabs, and I got my All tab, and I just want to go through and make sure that on all my tabs, this is my personal preference. If you don't want to do this, you don't. I'm going to go to load all brackets on all these. I always, regardless of what tab I'm on, I want to see what is around me. So I always go to all my brackets. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to do this. And then you can see you have all these wonderful presets for tabs right here. I'm going to read off what these say, because I know my quality is pretty shitty. It's hard to read my screen. This says normal PvP, ships only, bombing warp outs if you're in a bomber, deployables, things like mobile depots, tractor units. NPSI is not purple, shoot it. So that stands for there's NPSI fleets that mean if they're not in your fleet, you better shoot them, or they're going to shoot you. So like if you go on a Spectre fleet, which is an NPSI group that does public roams, and if you're not in the fleet, you're not purple, so you better shoot it if you're in that fleet. That's what that NPSI means, not purple, shoot it. And that just is a setting to where you can set up your grid, and it will prioritize who's in your fleet over everything else. War targets only, hostile anti-bombers, battle cruisers, battleships, caps. These are all different classes of ships right here, this whole section of hostile. So if you only want to see one type of ship in a specific fight, you can quickly get to that. Friendly, if you got to see a certain group of friendly ships because you need to be flying towards them or whatever. You need to keep an eye on them if they're endangered. That's what that's for. Basic travel. So as you can see, there's tons and tons of great settings for all your different mini things. I generally just use the basic settings, and then I generally will make a, because I do faction warfare, I'll make one for faction warfare, and over time I'll just make sure I have all my faction warfare things, like all my faction warfare structures, small and obvious, large as mediums, my all the different faction warfare rats are on there, and the iHub and all that sort of stuff, because that's what I do. But you know, make a tab for whatever you do, and you know, the most of, and make it work for you in PvP. So now we're getting into more stuff that's complicated and headache. So we're gonna open the overview settings. I always go show all brackets. I don't know. I guess that's the easy way to do it. Open overview settings. I'm gonna show you all the moons and shit too. There's a way to do that. Anywho, all right. So we'll start with the first one, overview tabs, and these are basically these little things, all these little hypertext. That's just to give these cool little colors, like this overview fetch. So this is just the names of the tab in this column. All my 8 tabs. These 2 aren't used. And here's the preset I'm using. This is the, you know, when I right click on this, oops, why did that do that? Okay, load presets. That's overview preset, the second row. That's what this is. It's which preset I have selected for this tabs. That's one tab, two tabs, three tabs, and then this is my brackets. And see, all mine pretty much say show all brackets. That's what I want. So this is just basically the same information that you get here from right-clicking. Tab presets. And this is what these actual presets do. And I'm not going to mess with these, but this is what each one of these options, these preset brackets, every single thing on this list has a list like this of what it shows. Very specific things checked off. And if you specifically know what you need to adjust about a setting, then you absolutely could use that. See, like if I want to do, this is friendly all, but if I want to make it like, that's sovereignty structures, NPC, you could add all your, faction, navy, NPCs, or whatever you want to see specifically. You could add, let's see, orbitals. No, I don't need that. That's from Dust. Starbase. I'm looking actually for the citadels, stations. These are all arrays. These are all things that go on pauses. The player-owned starbase. I'm looking for the things that go for. Oh, maybe it's in the states tab. Oh, and this is how the states. This is like what symbols show up for what. All little symbols. Like, pretty sure there's a way to edit these, and you can put. It's just it's the filtering. What overrides what. And as you can see, it's pretty complicated. But if you want to mess with it, you can make it so if pilot is an ally in one of your wars, that this always show this. Excellent standing, good standing, always show this. And if they're neutral or terrible, whatever, it filters these things out to show other things. I don't really mess with this stuff, but that's where you want to go. This is very important. The appearance. This is like the priority of what gets shown. So people that are at war with us will be flashing, and you can actually, when you click on this, let me see. There's a way to down arrow. See, I can pick the color, and where's the option to make it flash here? Toggle blank. If you right click, you can turn the blank on or off. See, I can make it blank. I like the flashy. It lets me know that these people are fighting. I can shoot these motherfuckers. All the blinky ones are pretty much people that can be shot anywhere. I should probably make that blinky as well, because you can shoot a suspect anywhere. Now, the times these things at here that are at war or whatever, these are people I'm pretty much always gonna be shooting. Actually, my fleet should take priority over that, I feel like. But I guess if someone starts flashing, I know they're in my fleet shooting me. Anyway, pilot is in your corp, blah 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 blah. Excellent standing. This is all your standings. And then these just let me know when I can shoot people. And the order of these things, you can drag and drop these things. Like if I put my fleet up top, now my fleet, if you're in my fleet, you will be purple no matter what you do, no matter who you're with, no matter what you do. I kind of like this one because I guess it lets you know if you go and join a fleet and there's people flashing it, there's war targets in that fleet, and you might have a problem. So this prioritizes which color you're going to see, and it's very, very important this is done right. When people say unfuck your overview, you're shooting blues, that's because your blue standing is too low on this list. So you're seeing something like they're a suspect, they're a criminal is higher on the list, so you're seeing that instead of their blue standings. Or something is over your fleet, so you see someone in your fleet because they're a pirate in your fleet, you start shooting them because you see this, because this is up here above your fleet. That's where you get fucked. It's in the appearance tab in your overview settings, which you open by right there, okay? So this is the biggest thing that people fuck up. And you can use the smaller fonts and smaller color tags, which is actually, I kind of like that. I like the smaller tags. And also they have like a background for this. I'm not sure where the background is. Oh yeah, background. You can make the background colors for everything too, and you can make those flash. So like some people like war, they like to make this thing blink. So the whole frickin' their whole name starts flashing. I think it's kind of like what's the word? it gives me a fucking seizure to have all that shit blinking, so I just leave it with the symbols. And you can apply to ships, drone. This is pretty neat too. You can apply to drones and see whose drones are what. Use small color tag, use small font. I like that small font stuff. Okay, so columns. This is right here. Columns is what columns are up here. So if I stretch this out a little bit, I don't use a lot of these, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off. Now, some people, I'm certain PvPers are cringing right now. That's fine. I don't really use transversal. I don't really use angular. I like the new arrow system. I can tell if they're going that way. I see the little arrow going this way. I just match that as best I can on the spot. That's really all you're doing anyway. And because I don't want to look up here and read numbers, I'd like to be able to look in space, say, oh, he's going that way. I'm going to match his angle and speed as much as I can just looking at it. So I don't really use those anymore. Militia is pretty important because I do faction warfare. And then when you drag these up and down, you determine where it's going to be on the left and right. Now, I don't really care about Corp or Alliance. I prefer just to see the tags. And you start to learn which tags is who by right-clicking. So I want the tag. I want to see the militia right there, militia, boom. But I want to see velocity before that. That's more important. I need to know how fast they're going. That's very, very important. Whether or not I can hit them, whether or not they're getting closer or going farther away by how fast. Velocity is very important. And I'm gonna leave icon is this first row. Distance, I want distance, but I want it a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna make my distance just enough to see. Well, you might want to see like thousands, right? Just like that. Leave a few spots open. Just so I can see distance. I don't need much more than that. The name I'll leave a little bit more so I can see a little bit more of the names of the stuff I'm warping to. Type. Type can go down a little bit. I can live without type being right there. There we go. And then I got velocity, militia, and their tag for their group. And the militia can be pretty small. The velocity can be smaller. The tag can be smaller. You want these things kind of compact. In this game, screen save space is always at a premium. And then I'm just going to make it all the way like I normally do. Make my selected item up here. Okay. And ships. Oh, these are just like what brackets and what shows for things. I'm not going to mess with this. The way that it is fine with me. If you want to mess with it, you go ahead. What is this? I don't even know what this is. Hide Corp ticker if he's in an alliance. I don't care about that. Move entries with broadcast to the top. So when the FC broadcasts, it goes to the top of the list. I like that. I'm going to leave that. Show targeting crosshairs. I love the little crosshairs. Leave that. Display damage. That's little things that roll up here and say you've done 24 damage with your drone. Leave that. Active module links. I don't know what that is. I think it might be the active modules here that are hitting me. Whatever. I think I'm going to leave that. In range brackets. The thing's showing me what's in range. I'll leave that. It's fine. Alright. And then history. Oh, cool. If you ever want to get back to your thing, this is the history of what you used. Okay. And I can restore to my previous saved one. That's pretty cool. I didn't know about that. See, I'm learning. So that's basically it. Really all I do is I use the Szechuan's overview pack, and then I don't really mess with this stuff unless you're making a specific tab for a specific thing and you want to isolate certain things you want to see and nothing else on a tab, then you use this tab preset and you can pick out exactly what is on your tab. Just be very careful. It's very easy to mess with this stuff and screw up all your fucking tabs and not just the one you're doing. And so just be aware of that. Test things out before you use them in combat. And this, like I said, is the priorities of what colors you're going to see before what. I have it on color background, but you can go to color tag or background. And like I said, the preset one here hasn't done me wrong, so I leave it at this. If you know something, oh, that needs. If you notice something wrong, like, oh, why am I seeing suspects before fleet members? You know, I should see him as a fleet member first. Or whatever, you want to change something around. Here's the place to do it. Your appearance and your color tags. You just drag and drop stuff up or down for the priority that that thing needs to be over something else. Blah blah blah, mumbling. Sorry. And this one, the same thing. You can drag and drop these up and down, and it's your columns left to right. Your distance, name, velocity, all this stuff is here. As to what you want to see. And then ships. I'm guessing that's just how ships appear. I'm not going to mess with this. These are some more options, miscellaneous options, display the bracket for this, that, and the other. Not too bad. As you can see, all I did was flip a few things around with my... I like to see all the brackets. I like that these in a certain order. I want velocity right there, which militia you're in is important because I'm faction warfare. Didn't really change a whole lot. And then these, yeah, that's my order. And then that's about it. That's all I really mess with. But like I said, the options are here if you want to mess with stuff and get really technical. And if you don't like using the right click to do this stuff, it's confusing. You can go right here and see everything all at once. Each tab, like that's my first tab. There's my main tab. And it says normal PvP right here. See, that's what it says right there. And then I have all brackets. That's the thing. I was right clicking and go to show all brackets. So that's pretty much it for overview. That's how I do mine. That maybe it'll help you get through it because it is kind of cancer. Now we're hotkeys. This is something I love. I always change my hotkeys to certain things. I'm just hitting escape here. That toggles this menu. Now we're going to go to shortcuts, and the first thing you should always do is go to navigation, I believe it is. General. Combat? Is it really in combat? Can't be. The first thing you should do is, I don't know because I'm an idiot. It should be, I'm looking for open overview settings. It's window, that sounds right. Open, overview settings. Alright, see I have none. I'm going to double click this, click, and then I'm going to hit O. And it's going to say O is already used. It didn't say it. Alright, so O is, that's nice to have. All this does is that when you're in dock, you can now press O, and your overview settings pop up. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So you can mess with these while you're docked up. You don't have to be out in space and try to hit open the menu there. Okay? It just gives you a hotkey to open this. And then you can mess with this while you're docked up. That's always good. It's under shortcuts and window. Overview settings. So make a hotkey to open your overview settings. And then you can do it while you're docked. Let's see. Combat. I do my lock target as B. I just like that button. There's no real good reason. Often I put little drops of Elmer's glue, like a tiny little drop, and then that key has a little bump on it. So when I'm looking for it in the heat of battle, I don't have to look at my fingers. I can feel that bump, and I know I'm hitting the right button. It's an old StarCraft thing. So that's just one of the things I change. Now there's all kinds of things. Some people like to put approach as T for tackle. I do it with orbit. I make my orbit T for tackle, and I always make sure when I'm in a ship I set my orbits to the proper, my predefined orbit range to whatever I want for that ship. Blasters, you want to be up close, obviously. Missiles, you want to be, or Tristan, you want to be at max point range. And just here's all your buttons for docking. Just anything you might want to do. Your camera is C. When I was talking about the D scan, that's the button C. The track is what, so I click on something on the overview, hit C, and it turns my camera right to that thing, so I can do a 5-degree scan on it. Let's see, window. This is just all your different windows you can open. They have shortcuts to them. I kind of know where everything is by the little buttons. There's a few things I use these for, like the map. It's F10. Where is it? Probably under M. Map, F10. See, I know that one. I just use that. But there's not a lot of these I really use. So combat. So yeah, we already did that. That's the one. The only one I change here is the orbit. I like is T. And then usually show info I change to I. I for info. General. I don't really mess with a lot of these, but there's a whole ton of stuff here. Yeah, I don't mess with this. A lot of this stuff I do with right clicking. So okay, this is important. Shortcuts, navigation. You get broadcast. Now me, I'm fucking lazy and I like efficiency. So I change. It's actually the default now. It used to not be the default, but I changed broadcast target to X, and pretty much use that for anything. I want you to warp to a gate. I broadcast that gate as target, and it pops to the top of your overview. Makes it easy. So I just use X for everything, unless I need shield. Now generally, what I do for this, I haven't done this in a while. I think I do S for shield and A for armor. Need shield, need armor. So S or A, shield or armor. That's pretty easy. And then my Logi guys, when they have their fleet window open, they'll have their fleet window shows all the broadcasts. When I need armor, I pop up there. Dr. Bar Mitzvah needs armor. So those are good buttons to have hotkeyed. Your broadcast need armor, need shield, and target. If you're a tackler and you got something scrammed, you can say FC. I tackle whatever. I'm broadcasting. It'll be like, cool. Everyone shoot that motherfucker. Depending on how your FC is. Sometimes the FCs don't want you to touch your broadcast because it screws up your logic guys. It screws him up. Blah 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 blah. So I don't really use many of the other ones, but there's all these beautiful options if you want to use them. Modules, I don't really. Oh, this is just your F keys. It's just saying, and I'll show you this right now. You can click on your capacitor. Oh, and you can move this little guy around here. I've seen people with it up there, all over the place. There's ways to do it. I don't really mess with it. I like it down here, and every once in a while I'll move it side to side. And there's a whole bunch of little options here that I don't mess with. I don't really. Everything I kind of like the defaults for. Yeah, I usually keep this on yellow, my safety, because sometimes you just want to fucking shoot somebody. I don't put it on red because I don't want to get Concord Duken. But if you are high-sec ganking, you got to put that on red so you can shoot anywhere. The partial safety I prefer though, because it stops me from getting myself killed. Let's see. Oh yeah. So when you hold these and click them, you see all these things pop up when I drag this around, and I can put this at any of those spots, and it's just telling me if I put it at this spot and then I hit F1, it's going to activate that module, and if I hit F1 again, it's going to turn it off. How nice is that? I don't have to click on it. Another wonderful thing about this is if I hit F1 and I want to heat, alright, I hit F1, and I want to heat, I can shift F1. Oh, I don't have thermodynamics 1. This is an old count, so it doesn't have. But that's, you can turn on here, or you can press Shift and click it, or you can press Shift and F1. Any of those things will turn on, toggle on off on your heat. But I don't have this stuff to turn on heat, so it isn't doing it. So usually what you want to do is you make your guns F1. And when they talk about people being F1 monkeys in Eve, that's because they have a bunch of ships and all their guns. There's also a thing where if you have a bunch of guns, there's a little figure 8 thing right here, and you can click it and it'll stack all those guns in one button, and you put it as F1. So when you lock something up, you pick your target, you lock it up, and then you just tap F1 and your guns will shoot it. But that's what that was. Let's go back to the overview. Get back to where we were. Okay, here we go. So that's what these are. It's just saying which which modules on that little list you want to overrate. If you want to change F1 to be something else, you could. You can set every buttons however you like in this game. It's pretty cool. I generally don't mess with other stuff because the only little hotkeys I use for that are my F keys, and then I use shift click to heat them or unheat them to manage my heat and my modules. Drones. This is pretty cool one to know. If you want your drones to engage, F for fight, fighters fight, F. And then all drones return to bay, Shift R. That's pretty cool. And I think R would be easier. I don't really use the R. There you go. Fight and return for my drones. So I got a hotkey. You have to put them out on their own. You have to like send them out and tell them to dock on their own. But there's some keys. Oh well, they will go back to the bay on their own, but they won't leave the bay on their own. There should be a button to deploy drones, but whatever. So that's just for your drone commands. You lock a new target up and you want them to switch to that. You click on the new target and click F. You want your drones to run away, you press R because they're going to warp out or whatever. Character creation, I don't really worry about this. That's pointless. You don't need hotkeys for something you do once. Character movement, oh, this was for something that they never really implemented. You were going to be able to walk around in stations, but everyone said that's fucking stupid. We want spaceships, not Barbie dolls, so they got rid of that kind of. And that's really it for the hotkeys and overview. That's really all I fuck with. Just a few little things, but just good to know and kind of get some of the fear out of it. And you know, like I said, you get 3 characters per account. So if you want to make another account and just make a newbie character and just screw with this stuff, so you don't have to worry about messing with your main character stuff and having to fix it all, and just start fucking with it. Figuring out, oh, I want a certain overview for a certain thing. Don't be afraid to play with options. Make another. This is just my side account. He doesn't undock JITA. Like, this is probably the 2nd or 3rd time he's ever been undocked, and I can't remember why the other reasons were, but I'm sure I've done it before. And you're basically just, you know, he's just a character that I use to buy stuff at JITA, and then I make courier contracts. Actually, I'll go over that right now because that's something that's kind of important for new players. So, on your account, go to your character creation, just make another guy. You can do don't waste a lot. You don't have to waste a lot of time making them all pretty. You can just do whatever. And is this? Yeah, you know your JITA 4.4 because there's all this crap here. Vote Trump, yay! All right, I'm just gonna click on the station and dock. And these buttons too, if you mouse over them, they all have hotkeys, Q, D, and you can see your hotkeys like that for if you want to know them in the heat of battle or whatever. You don't want to open the overview menus. You want to read it. All right. So I just all right. So let me see my items. Item hanger. I have this stuff. Okay. So I want to ship. Say I have 1,000 ships and modules and all this stuff, and there are limitations. You generally never want to ship something that's over like 800,000 meters cubed because there isn't a ship that goes much bigger than that to carry it all at once, and people will ignore your contract. So that's a consideration. And there's a limit to how many different items you can have. Generally, people avoid contracts with containers in them, so don't put all your stuff in a container and try to get it shipped because you'll piss somebody off, and they'll ignore your contracts in the future. What's the other one? Ships. Don't fit your ships. Leave them packaged so they take up less space, and they don't have stuff inside of them. You don't want stuff inside of any other stuff when you ship. It makes it harder. I don't know the exact reasons, but I know they all complain about it, so I just go along with it, and I haven't had any problems. So what we're gonna do is say this item, or just say I want to create a contract. I want to go to business, go to my E menu, business, contracts. You can create contracts, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go create contract at the bottom here. And make sure you select Courrier. If you select the items to exchange and pull your stuff in it, you're going to give away all your stuff. Don't do that. If you're moving stuff, you click Courrier. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to go to public, because anyone who wants to take this contract can do it. I'm going to ship this EM word amplifier. And you can go down, scroll up and down, and you can ship it from this place or other places. I generally only do it from the place I'm at. I could click all my ships if I had hundreds of frigates and cruisers and all that stuff I'm sending somewhere to sell or whatever for myself that you burn up over the next month. And then I'm going to go to next. I have my item selected. And then where do I want to ship to? Well, right now the Faction Warfare Corp, we're down in Miator, so we'll go there. Miator. And I'll just spell the whole thing out so everyone knows I'm not cheating because I have sent stuff there before. And it'll ask me which station in Miator, and I'll say this one. Imperial Crusade, because that's who we're working for, basically, in the Faction Warfare. And then your reward. How much do I want to pay the guy hauling this? And usually 10 mil is a fair thing. You get your stuff moved for that. If you put it less, it might take longer for your contract to get done. I used to do it for 5 mil all the time, but it seems like the price has gone up. When I do 5 mil contracts, nobody takes them. So I've been doing 10 and 12 mil contracts, and they've been getting moved. Albeit not that fast, but they get moved. So we'll say 10 million, and make sure you count your zeros very carefully. 10, 123, 123. There is, it'll tell you 22 jumps. They're making about 450,000 per jump. Pretty good. That's fair. And then collateral. What is the stuff I'm shipping worth? Generally, you don't want to go over 1 billion ISK in one shipment. People aren't gonna. When you make this collateral, the guy shipping it has to put that money up. So the bigger that collateral is, the fewer people can take that contract because they don't have the money. If my cargo, I generally do like 100 million more than what my cargo is worth, and I never put a cargo worth over 1 billion. There are specific services. Red Frog has a Purple Frog or something business that they do. If you want to check out Red Frog Freight, you can just Google them and you'll find their website, and they have calculators. You put the info in, it'll tell you exactly how to set up the contracts, what the limitations are. And they have Black Frog, which delivers to anywhere in nullsec. They have, well, not anywhere, but delivers to NPC nullsec or lowsec. They have Red Frog does high sec, and I think they have like Purple Frog. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but they have another service that does high value items, and they collateral up to like 5 or 10 billion in a single ship or a single cargo hold. So I'm going to set my collateral at 200 million. I'm poor, and this is just some frigates, we'll say, and I don't, there's probably 150 million on there, so I'll just put a little over that just to cover my ass. So if someone does blow up this freighter in high sec, they send a bunch of tornadoes and they gank it because they think there's Plex in the hold, because they scan it or whatever. They just make a mistake. If he dies, I get that money. The collateral he put up. If my cargo doesn't make it in the time frame that I allow for whatever reason, he decides to rip into the cargo. I get that money. If you under-collateralize, if I put $1 billion-isk worth of stuff, and there's only a 200 million-isk collateral, someone's just going to steal it. They're going to accept my contract, they're going to put up that 200 million collateral, and then they're just going to open the package and take all the stuff and keep the $1 billion-isk worth of cargo. So make sure your collateral covers the value of that cargo, or it will get stolen and you'll be fucked. Alright? And I've seen people in corp, spies going to corps and, hey, I'll put all your stuff in my jump freighter. Oh, don't collateralize it, I don't have the money. And someone puts $2 billion-isk worth of shit in a courier contract for their corp buddy to move, and he disappears with all their stuff and they never get it back. So be very, very careful about courier contracts. Always collateral. If someone's telling you not to collateral, you better fucking trust them with all your stuff. You better be ready to lose what's on that fucking freighter. Alright, and then days to complete. I generally, the more time you give them, the more likely it's going to get done. Because a suicide ganker wants it done in a narrow, like they're going to make, they make these contracts so that in a very narrow window of time, or more narrow window of time, that person will be moving the stuff and they can gank it and collect the collateral. They set people, they set up the trucker guys basically with bullshit contracts to get them to move the stuff and then blow them up to get the collateral. So I always put 2 weeks, like this contract, someone has 2 weeks to accept this, and once they accept it, they have 3 days to move the stuff. It's a slow thing, but someone's doing it for me, they're taking all the risk, and I'm paying them a measly 10 mil. It's a fair deal. And I don't really have the skills to fly big haulers, and I don't want to deal with it, and other people enjoy being space truckers, so they help me, I help them. And then you click next, and it's going to confirm. Now this is a very important screen. Do scroll up and down and read everything carefully. No description. Okay, availability, it's public, anyone can accept this contract. Location, this is where it's coming from. It expires in 14 days. If it doesn't get taken, I get this, all this money comes back to me, 10 million, and my stuff stays here. These are just fees, taxes, fees, blah blah blah. Reward, read this right here. It'll tell you if you accidentally put an extra 0 or not. You put a 10 billion or 100 million on accident for payout. So I'm paying out reward 10 million. My collateral, they have to put up 200 million. And where is it going? And you can double check here and go to Mediator. Okay, that looks lit. That's my spot. And you have 3 days to do this contract once you accept it. And this is the total volume of the contract. Like I said, make sure that doesn't exceed about 800,000, because then literally no one will be able to do it in one trip, and they probably won't do it. Probably contract will sit there till it expires. But if you set it up kind of these parameters, it'll probably get done in, generally it only takes 2 or 3 days. I get my stuff moved like this. If it takes longer than that, I'll usually redo the contract and put it for like 13 mil or 15 mil, and it gets done right away. If you have the extra couple bucks to throw at it, then why not? So that's how to move your stuff. Because we're in a faction warfare corp, and this is more for like people in my corp too. If you try to move your stuff yourself, you're gonna die. There's thousands of people at war with you, and some of those people will be sitting at JITA waiting for you to undock, flashy, blinking like we did in the overview, and they're gonna fuck you up and blow up your Badger and take all your stuff. And when you cry about it, everyone's gonna be like, well, you're fucking retarded, why don't you use an alt? Make a fucking JITA alt and buy in, just click on his, go put him in your contacts, type his name in, people and places. I want to find Joe, Bob, whoever, and there's some other guys, friends of mine, and then you find them in people and places, you right click on them, give money, you send them the money to the JITA alt, he buys all the stuff you want, he makes a courier contract, sends it to the nearest high-sec system. Those public contracts, they will not go to low-sec, they will not go to null-sec. They will tell you to fuck yourself. You have to hire specific services to do that, like Black Frog. And they're very expensive. Well, not very, for a new player, very expensive. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover. Thanks for bearing with me. I've been sick, I've been kind of scatterbrained. I drank lots of delicious coffee so I wouldn't be so stupid. And that's going to conclude episode 3. I Want Alpha. I'm Dr. Bar Mitzvah, and I love you very much. Oh, I had to tab out. I'll put some music on and shit. Yeah.